If there is a super cycle, you never want to sell. So you could call that permeable. I would be calling it right.
There's a storm brewing for Bitcoin and Ethereum.
I mean, the United States government has a strategic Bitcoin reserve now, right? Like, what bigger kind of endorsement might you have of like, this is here to stay?
Let's go over the latest news that affects you if you hold Bitcoin, if you hold Ethereum.
If you have the conviction on the right ideas, you never want to sell the strongest ideas.
Subscribe to Altcoin Daily to stay informed. But breaking news, this was just revealed. The 6th largest bank in the world, PNC Bank, rolls out spot Bitcoin access for their private clients. This just went into effect.
Good morning. PNC announcing that it has entered a strategic partnership with Coinbase. The arrangement will expand access to digital assets for PNC's banking clients and institutional investors, and PNC will provide banking services to Coinbase. Shares of Coinbase down about 3.7%, PNC up slightly. According to the release, the two companies will develop an initial offering that will allow clients to buy, hold, and sell cryptocurrencies.
And how this affects you, this essentially opens up a whole new pool of capital for Bitcoin and crypto. PNC Bank is the first major US bank to offer spot Bitcoin trading directly within its digital banking platform, meaning you open your bank account, you can buy, sell, or trade Bitcoin. Right now, this is only offered to PNC's eligible private bank clients, meaning high net worth, meaning the elites get access to this first because PNC believes all the elites can manage their money better. They understand the risks. The common person cannot be responsible for themselves to understand the risks. I think that's BS. I think Bitcoin is for everybody, but this is how it starts. The integration, years in the making, lets clients trade and hold Bitcoin without using a separate crypto exchange. So pay attention to what they do, not what they say, what they do. Because what they say, the mainstream media for several weeks, couple months has been saying, whoa, crypto, it's about to head into a deep bear market. It's way overvalued. But notice the implementation the elites are putting in. Notice what they do. And while PNC is focused on Bitcoin, remember a month ago, JP Morgan focused on Ethereum.
Kind of in this space, JP Morgan saying last month that it was partnering with Coinbase to pilot JPMD, a deposit token managed by blockchain technology.
And this just happened today. The Federal Reserve cuts rates by 25 basis points, exactly like we expected, the market expected. But it's not just what he did, the Federal Reserve did, it's what Jerome Powell said. So in this case, that is a little different. What Jerome Powell says at these meetings tends to move markets. And what did he say? He said, rate hikes now off the table. I don't think there's a rate hike in anybody's base case.
So I don't think that a rate hike is anybody's base case at this point. And I'm not hearing that. What you see is some people feel we should stop here and that we're at the right place and just wait. Some people feel like we should cut once or more this year and next year. But when people are writing down their estimates of policy of where it should go, it is either holding here or cutting a little or cutting more than a little.
And this is where we start quantitative easing, QE. But they're not going to call it QE. The Fed will begin purchasing U.S. Treasury bills on December 12th. The Fed will buy $40 billion of U.S. Treasury bills in 30 days. Liquidity is coming back. The liquidity cycle, which has been muted for a lot of macro reasons, is starting to come back. The business cycle has been under 50 and has been muted for the longest range of time in a long time. Liquidity is finally coming back. And that brings us to what's really next for Bitcoin, what's really next for Ethereum. Fundstrat's Tom Lee says we're probably in a super cycle.
If there is a super cycle, you never want to sell. So you could call that permeable. I would be calling it right.
And that's taking a multi-year perspective. So let's look short-term and long-term. And I want to play you that full Tom Lee clip. I do just want to take 90 seconds and give a big shout out to sponsor of this section of today's video, Confidential Layer. Big news today, the protocol is live. Confidential Layer becomes the first bridge linking Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Base, BNB, Ton to privacy chains. Think like a layer 0 or a wormhole, but privacy focused. And like I mentioned before, as well as in my interview with expert Arthur Hayes, privacy will be a big trend in 2026.
I happen to think that the privacy narrative will be a big one in 2026, and this is sort of foreshadowed by the rise of Zcash over the last 2 months. It's gone up, I don't know what, 10x or 10 to 20x, depending on when you got in.
And that's true. Zcash did do a 20x from peak to trough in like 2 months. So the proof of concept is there. Investors want privacy. Privacy will be a trend in 2026. And this is the first bridge to privacy blockchains, meaning you can upgrade your crypto or add privacy features and security features to Bitcoin, to Ethereum, and the bridge just went live. It did over $27 million in volume since launch. They put this out on their X, unique privacy solution, real volume and revenue, 40% flowing back to stakers, meaning if you stake, you benefit, as well as buybacks from the market. And they already have partnerships/integrations within wallets like Bitcoin.com, bringing tens of millions of users to the solution with one-click add privacy solutions. And the buyback system is pretty interesting. We are thrilled to reveal the clone buyback system. Every single bridging transaction will power the buyback engine, driving continuous demand for clone and creating a strong direct connection between the product and the token. So utility goes to volume, goes to buybacks, goes to value. If you're bullish like me on this privacy narrative in 2026, keep confidential layer on your radar, link down below.
I hope this doesn't bother anybody, but...
And here's what Tom Lee just said, because while he thinks we're in a super cycle, this is my fear. This is... worst case, what if we're the exit liquidity? Let me pose it to you this way. If somebody asked you, said, I'm going to give you the opportunity to go back in time to when Bitcoin was $125,000, and now I'll let you sell, knowing it's going to drop further, would you take it? Well, we still could have been in a bull market at that time, so we'll even give you two options. Or you go back to the 50-week moving average, where Bitcoin was around $103,000 and said, hey, we're about to break under the 50-week moving average. That signals new bear market. Do you want to sell? Would you take it? A lot of people would. And that's now the support. That's now the resistance, which used to be support as we return to these levels because of the uncertainty in the short term. Traders, not investors, I'm an investor, but traders short-term now have that option. Now, Tom Lee is about to argue that we are in a super cycle, but I loved this little bit from Farokh's Rug Radio podcast that's just dropped, where if we go lower, the lower Ethereum goes. That's the buy for Tom Lee, because 3K is way better value than 30K, and eventually ETH will be 30K, according to Tom.
I hope this doesn't bother anybody, but when Ethereum's at 3,000, we love it. We're buying it. We're buying it hand over fist. I mean, we'll buy it all day. I'd rather be buying it at 3,000. So like in a sort of perverse way, and we pointed this out, it's a lot easier to get ETH at 3,000 than to pay 30,000. So like, if someone is an accumulator or something, and the market is handing you a price here, we love it. So it's not fun for people to ride through the volatility, but we have clients that bought a lot of Bitcoin at under 1,000, and they made 100x on something that they literally never thought about. They put 2% in, and to us, when the S&P has its drawdowns, it's never fun.
No.
But we always just tell people, like, these are great companies. So if Nvidia's $86 and it was $150, is the story any different? And if it's not, they should be buying more at 86. And like, to me, is Ethereum at 3,000 somehow broken? There's nothing wrong with it. So we're glad to buy it.
Basically, liquidity has been suppressed, he goes on to say. And if when it comes back in 2026, crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum explode. Of course, any suppression remains a buying opportunity for assets with product market fit. And just as a special reward for anybody that watched the end of today's video, this is the hat I was wearing. I'm wearing many of these hats as well as this Bitcoin sweater, which I love. By the way, it's sort of hard to see, but there's a little Altcoin Daily logo on the sleeve. For the next 20 people that use promo code TOMLEE, just like that, all one word, free shipping on any of the Altcoin Daily merch, just so you could have it in time for the holidays. For those of you giving this as gifts, again, just for the next 20 people, link down below, use code TOMLEE for free shipping